Oh, buddy, but it's always the same. Playing with the boys. La da da da. Everybody's staying. Playing with a boy. Aperitifs and sunsets. Just a little simple ploy. I'm playing with a boy. And there was a lot of playing with boys this last weekend at Mancation, but we will save that for tomorrow at 1 o'clock, already scheduled on your YouTube dial if you go take a look. All the Mancation wrap up. I went to Sullivan's last night. That'll be for tomorrow. I went to a concert. That'll be for tomorrow. I got in trouble with the cops. That will be for tomorrow. I may have bloodied my hand. That will be for tomorrow. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a sports show. More specifically, Sports Mass Collective, episode 122, the year of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. We're calling it Sad Gilmore for obvious reasons, which we'll get to forthwith. But speaking of sports, just uploaded moments ago to the patreon.com/ski-mass-media, myself. Speaking of sports and athletes, myself on the kayak yesterday. If you want to see me fail at something other than podcasting, you're going to want to go watch that video for a mere $3, where I bring my kayak sail out on the only day I've been out on the kayak where there's not a lick of wind. Pretty ridiculous, but we saw some fish, we saw some ospreys. $3 Stancil Outdoors episode, that's what we call it on the Patreon. Of course, it's the Rodman 91 jersey we're breaking out that I bought. True story. I got this when he was still playing for the Bulls, as you can see by the youth size 40. A real piece of history. I don't buy throwbacks because I'm not a dumb sheep. I just keep things forever and then wear them and pretend they're a throwback. That's what a man does. Amanda, I saw some Amandas in Mancation. We'll save that for tomorrow. This is a sports program. Like I said, episode 122, the year of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Hieronymus Christ. We're going to talk about Happy Gilmore because this is a sports show. I have a fantasy football draft situation that I want to put out there and see what people think. And a little bit of baseball and basketball. But as I say every fucking week, I'm going to say it again anyway. This may be a quick episode. I just had a few things to tick off to keep the constant content rolling since my co-host is dead. I'm doing my best to carry the torch. And I do need, if you watch the last Ski Mask Collective, legendary Ski Mask Collective with Aunt Mead, Amanda Gale, Dr. Matt, all making cameos. I owe Dr. Matt hundreds of dollars, almost $500. So, super chats are gay, but what's not gay is Venmo and PayPal. As the last of the Mohegans in this hemisphere of podcasting, still trying to do a legitimate show without just talking gossip about the same people and over again. That's where you can send it. I mean, I am truly one of the last of the Mohegans. I didn't move to Austin. I never talk about the Dabbleverse. I'm not in the Dabbleverse. I'm not a simp chatter. I'm not a ball washer. So by all means, super chat away and go nuts, which is classic. Listen, my issue with super chats on MLC, we're not going to get too into this because sports. My issue with super chats at MLC is MLC was a once great show. All these other shows all they are about is chats and super chat. The Steel Toe, for example. I have no problem with Aaron. I would consider myself friends with Aaron, I guess. But his show was always about interacting with the chat and hitting the goal. That was literally the basis for his show. I'll even say the same thing for the gay loser fat nerd Onions. His show is all about the chat and making money and getting paid to read people's comments. MLC, Misery Loves Company. I mean, this is pretty straightforward if you're not a mongoloid. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. MLC was a once great and proud program, a real show, as we called it, with real guests, where Kevin would give it his takes on this or that, or eviscerate someone, or what is there, fight with his wife, or fight with a comic. And now it's turned into what all these other shows are, which is just a super chat show. And I'm sorry, I'm a purist. Maybe I grew up with sports talk radio and regular radio and O&A. I like a classic real show. All these other shows can do whatever the hell they want. I will never stop beating the drum that I hate what MLC has become. But that is for the 1 o'clock show tomorrow called Ski Mask Collective. This is a sports program. Let me start with this because it's been in the news in the tri-state. Juan Soto getting absolutely hosed by the umpires in San Diego this week, which a lot of people, again, now it's bringing up the conversation. If you didn't see it, basically 2 nights in a row, all night, Soto getting absolutely terrible strikeout calls from the umpire. And that's not just me as a Mets fan. I mean, you could watch it, and they're not even close. So I don't know if this guy had it out for Soto. I don't know if this guy got caught in the moment and felt he had to punch Soto out, if you know what I mean. But once again, at least in the tri-state, I can't speak for your people's areas, but at least around here, the conversation is back in force about using AI strike zones, computer strike zones, that kind of thing, and getting rid of home plate umpires as far as balls and strikes are concerned. It seems like majority of at least people favor this AI umpire deal. I may be in the minority with this, but I think there's an in-between. I really don't. I have never been a favor of putting a DH in there. If you watch the show, you know this. Never been in favor of this DH in the NL. I liked having the DH in the AL, pitcher hits in the NL. That's classic baseball. They did it for 200 years. I don't know why we changed that. Fine, changed it, DH. Then we get a pitch clock. They got 20 seconds to throw the ball. Okay, fine, I get it. They want games to end in 2.5 hours. Again, I don't like it because, again, I'm a purist. I personally, I used to like the 3.5 hour game where it's a chess match, where they're taking out this pitcher, bringing in this pitcher. Listen, baseball is one of those sports that you can have on the TV or the radio and do other things with. It's a companion sport. Football, you have to sit down and watch. Can't really have on in the background. Every play clowns. Clowns? But I digress. Every play counts in football. You got to watch the game. Basketball, too fast paced. Hockey, same. Baseball is one of the only sports you can have on in the background, still pay attention and know what's going on. So I never had a problem with these 3.5 hour, the occasional 3.5 hour game, 4 hour game, whether it was high scoring or whether it was a pitching duel and the coaches were overly making subs. That was kind of the core of American baseball. So now we've sped up the game. We have DHs in both leagues. We turn it into a video game, right? And now they want AI umpires. Here's why I'm against it. And I do have a solution I'll get to, an in-between, besides going straight to computers and the goddamn Terminators that will eventually surely eviscerate us all. These wretched Terminators being made by Boston Dynamics that are sure to rip us from limb to limb and beat our children over the heads with our own arms. So I don't want. I think there are times, and I truly believe this. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. This is what I'm talking about. I think the moment and momentum and a batter's momentum and a pitcher's momentum. I think that it's okay for that to come in play, in my opinion, in balls and strikes. For example, listen, top of my head, and I was going to go with a generic example, but top of my head, Johan Santana's no-hitter. He had a couple very generous calls, to put it lightly. It's a 3-2 count. It's a bottom of the ninth. Or the bottom, it's a whatever. It's a 3-2 count in a big inning. Right? The bases are loaded. The pitch is technically outside, what a computer would call outside, but just outside. Something the swinger should have swung at in that spot. I have no problem with getting punched out. I have no problem doing the opposite too. If maybe the big spot is at home. Maybe this is all stuff an umpire is never going to say out loud, nor should they, but we're humans. And I think the human element should play a role in balls and strikes. Knowing the moment, knowing what's going on. Is this guy going for the cycle? Is he going for the record of walks? Is the pitcher going for a no-hitter? Give him that extra strike. Is the batter going for a cycle? Give him that extra ball. Give him another pitch. That kind of thing, I think, is a real thing, a tangible thing in baseball. Again, baseball is a very different sport than all the other major sports. It's very much in the American culture, born out of the American culture. It tells a story. That's why the people that don't get baseball there's people that get baseball and don't. It's very hard to teach somebody to like baseball that doesn't like baseball because it's its own thing. And for all those reasons, I am against an AI strike zone or a computer strike zone or getting rid of that altogether. I feel we've already gone down that road too much. I understand it's another thing they would probably like to speed up games. There's no umpires, no arguing, whatever. But I think the human element should be involved in balls and strikes. And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm the minority on that, but rack me or send a super chat if you disagree with me and have a point. Now, listen, the in-between is this. I told you I had an in-between solution. The in-between is I do think umpires need to be more accountable and front-facing. I think the umpire crew, or at least the chief, whoever the crew chief is, should have a press conference at the end of the night if he's asked for it. There'll be plenty of nights where the press doesn't need to talk to the umpire or the crew. But I think if umpires are requested, at the least, the crew chief should have a press conference, just like the coaches and players should have to do at night. I think that's a first start to accountability. And even just doing that may help, lure in some of these ridiculous calls. Nobody wants a ridiculous ball or strike call. My examples there were something that is on the corner, right? I'm talking about egregious balls and strike calls like what happened to Juan Soto in San Diego this week. So, I think umps should have to do, or at least the crew chief should have to do press conferences after the games, just like players and coaches. I think fines should be public, and there should be more fines for balls and strikes. That should be made public by the MLB. I know they do have reprimands and that behind closed doors, some of which are made public. You'll often see a statement from the MLB about a blown call now and then, that kind of thing. That's great and all, but more direct punishment. Or this umpire gets, pardon the pun, 3 strikes and you're out. It's a comedy sports show. But wouldn't that be something? In a baseball, I think home plate umpires, you get 3 strikes and you're out, just like baseball. What does it exactly look like? I don't know. I'm just a simple man. I'm a simple podcaster doing a real show wearing a youth-size Dennis Rodman jersey, okay? But something to the effect of, I know these guys get graded. If basically you get a D or below, let's say, I'm just throwing this out there just for the sake of the argument, which is what sports talk is all about, mostly just arguing with people. An umpire has 3 D or below games. Once an umpire gets 3 D or below games, they're not allowed to do home plate umpiring for the rest of the year. They have to be in the field. because those games should come few and far between. By the way, I mean, you send the right amount to my just below the camera. My penis is hanging out of my shorts. A lot of the ladies will be glad to know. Someone tell New Girl. So you never know when this if this computer were to ever fall, my penis would be in full view. So stay tuned. You never know what's going to happen out here, folks. Ball bag summer. We'll never forget. Hashtag ski mask forever. So anywho, there's my take. There's my 15-minute take on a single subject without talking about other grown men that also just sit in a house and stare at a camera and talk about other grown men. I just did 15 minutes on a real show speaking about a single subject by myself, by the way. There's not 75 other people named Cosmics and J-offs and whoever these other freaks that came out of the woodwork are. Just putting on a clinic. Just putting on an absolute clinic with my penis hanging out. And that's what we do here at Ski Mask Media. We talk with our genitalia hanging out. Hostile White Knight. I'm a man of my word. Anything super chatted will be read because this is how you're supposed to use super chats rather than making your whole show about them. Turn off super chats. You're doing a grift chat show. Poo 5Y. No, you didn't. You missed the top of the show, you idiot. Thank you for the $2, by the way. This is how you're supposed to use super chats. My issue with super chats is solely with MLC. I already gave this speech at the top, but you were probably too fat and tuned in late because you're fat and lazy. My issue is that, again, like I said, I'll paraphrase it for you people who've been watching the whole show. I apologize. For example, Steel Toe Show has always been a super chat show about hitting the goal. Even that fat loser Millen, his show has always been about chatting. My point is these shitty shows were always about reading your people dumb chats and money. My point is MLC was, until recently, and recently being a few years ago, a real show. And now it's become a embarrassing super chat show like these other shows. You understand? Remember when Kevin used to make fun of Steel Toe and hitting the goal? And now his whole show is about what he can do for money for you people. That is my issue with super chats. What we do here is the sweet spot of super chatting. The whole show and a couple other people. I'll give credit, even though I'm pissed at them for moving to Austin, like Mike Rainey's show, Dad Meat Show. They, just like we do here, all super chats are always read, but we're not going to derail the show at the same time. If you super chat something, it will be read by the end of the show, one way or other. Dad Meat does it kind of the same way I try to do it, although I don't get super chats. But they do sections. So 4 times a show or something, they'll bang through the super chats. But it's not the show isn't about the super chats. Especially on this show in sports, this is lends itself more to super chats because it's essentially a bastardization, a bizarro world sports talk show is what the intention of this show always was. Again, my issue with super chats is how they ruined MLC. My issues are very specific. Do I respect these other shows who make it all about grifting? Not really, but super chats have a purpose. That's my point. So thank you for getting me on another rant. More of that. That's really for the show tomorrow. Ski Mask Collective episode 306 is back tomorrow afternoon, where we'll cover a whole plethora of things that we don't talk about in this show. And maybe I'll get a guest or two tomorrow as well. Oh boy, I didn't see these. You've been on YouTube forever, got 9 viewers. I'm showing 50 actually on my end. Now 60. Conglomerate of and I actually see, this is the other thing. So Hostile White Knight is a retard, and what is that, a picture of another guy or something? Probably, maybe of me, because I get all the Twitter and Rumble and whatever views on my end here. But as I've always said, I don't care if 2 people watch this show. I do it for the love of the game. And you actually prove my point, Hostile White Knight. I have a real job. I don't do this for a living. I just do this for fun. People have begged me to do this, such as Ski Mask and Kevin Brennan and Gino. Because of my natural talent, I don't even have to try to do this. I don't have a script. I don't do any show prep. I don't do anything. I don't have a computer from this decade even. So you literally just proved your own point. I have a full-time job. I don't need this. I do it for the love of the game. That's the difference between me and all these grifters. Thank you for setting me up so well. Put the ball on a tee. That is the difference between me. All these grifters, these freaks that are on Medicaid, the Joey C's, all these other no-name losers who just set up a YouTube page and are doing what's the chats people do when they can't get 1,000 subscribers? What is the gay one? I don't fucking know. I don't fucking care. My point is, I have a real job, #real job. I leave my house often. I do this for fun because I've done this since I was a kid and it's easy. And again, that's the difference between me and everyone else. So thank you for setting me up once again, Hostile White Knight. This is good. Now, Stu Cluster is a guy that gets it. This is what I have to give you money so I can get attention because my dad is dead. #cancer. Yes, exactly. So I don't know if he's doing a parody of what these other people do, or Stu, if your dad really, I think your dad is dead. I think we've talked about this in the past. I know you just built your mom a beautiful house. If anyone would like to give me money, send it to the PayPal and Venmo on top of it, and so I can actually build a house like Stu Cluster. Let me know if your mom has any extra rooms in her house. I have been known to get along with the moms. I once almost had sex with Todd Ferguson's mom at Comedians of the Campground. Again, something all these losers would never even go to. Probably don't even know what it is. Where my legend just continued to grow. Thank you, Stu, for putting on the board. If your father, I think you told me your dad's dead like mine from cancer. But in some world, if that's a recent thing, let me know. And, well, I won't do anything, but we can commiserate about our dead dads. But I think we knew that. Thank you, Stu. God bless you, and may God bless these United States of America. Now, send more chats. I'll get to the poor people chats, by the way, at some point. I'm a man of the people, again, unlike all these other people. I do read the poor people chats. It's just not guaranteed. I skim through them. So, again, if you want something definitely read, if you have a question for the Socrates of, if you have a question for me, super chat it. That's the only way to guarantee it'll be read. But if you have a query for the Socrates of sport, the Aristotle of athletics, and Nostradamus of national pastime, super chat it. It's the only way to guarantee it'll be read. Otherwise, if you want to just shut the fuck up and respect me for putting out real, actual shows without talking or gossiping about other men, feel free to send it to the my accountant's PayPal or Venmo at the bottom. Anywho, that's basically my plugs. Don't worry about it. Oh, don't look now. Oh, look at right on time. Portfolio Recovery is contacting me because I owe them money. So send in those super chats. Yes, I love super chats. Yes. And I had to pay a doctor $500 this weekend because I had to visit my big-titted 22-year-old friend at her bar. But anywho, well, you all just talk about other grown men. Come and get it. Come on. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. He would love Compound Media. I actually don't have anything on Hulk Hogan. We were in Mancation on the Thursday when we heard of Hulk Hogan's passing. Well, there's nothing else to say. Anywho, what do we want to talk about? Do you want to talk about the dildo on the WNBA court? Really not much meat on the bone there. Pardon the pun as you look at these, talking about meat on the bone. So they threw a dildo on the court. It wasn't me, no. Moreover, what is going? I guess it's the natural state of women, but it seems like all the WNBA girls all hate each other. I surmise it's because they're all gay, and the pettiness of women when they're each going after each other. I surmise they're all gay and catty and petty. I think there's a lot of, well, obviously we know there's a lot of gayness going on, but I think there's inter-team, interwoven love triangles that we probably don't know about. And then you throw it on top where the player with all the buzz and all the juice is a white girl from Iowa. And she has her Robin to her Batman, Sophie Cunningham, who, by the way, how have I not known about Sophie Cunningham earlier? Thank you again, Stu, and God bless you, and may God bless America. If anybody has questions, super chat it. If you'd like an actual All Americans take on sports and not some fat comedian talking sports and not two talking heads talking sports, or somebody who's actually achieved in athletics, both physically on the field and on the sidelines as a head coach. No big deal. Feel free to throw it in there because you're not going to get this anywhere else, people. But Sophie Cunningham, another person, and again, all we have to thank is Caitlin Clark. If it wasn't for Caitlin Clark, I still wouldn't be in love with Sophie Cunningham. If you don't know who she is by now, go look her up right now. Just pause the show, grab some lube, kick your child into its room and lock it from the outside. Always important to lock your children in the room. Head on into that bathroom, break out that lube, apply it to your penis or vagina, and rub away one way or the other. Either rub your penis until white comes out, or rub your vagina until it feels funny or something. I actually don't know how women work, but go look at Sophie Cunningham. Not only beautiful, but a great attitude. She doesn't give a fuck. I saw her saying yesterday on some podcast what a joke it is to say Caitlin Clark's not the face of the league, and she used swear words, and it was great. So I'm in love with her. But listen, none of this, there's no denying, none of this would come about if Caitlin Clark, what was I saying? Caitlin Reese's old time? Caitlin Clark, who's Caitlin Reese? Isn't that a comic? I don't even know who the fuck that is. Call in if you know who Caitlin Reese is. Caitlin Clark, the only reason anybody's talking about the WNBA, the only reason anybody knows Sophie Cunningham, the only reason anybody knows Angel Reese, that's why Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, that's why I did it, I see, is because of Caitlin Clark and her skills and her class. So there's my hot WNBA take. I know it's so hot. I'll be at the Mets game Saturday. Once again, now I won't be in my section, but I will be technically better seats. I'll be at my usual section is 125. They're behind the left fielder in home run territory and field level. This is a family game, but we have 102. I believe it's just down the third baseline field level. So still good seats. So that's just letting you know I leave my house. Hold on. Hot off the presses, Stu Cluster. This is why you super chat to this show, because it actually is tangible. You know, these other shows, it's just these fat losers telling them, typing out their internal thoughts. On this show, you act as my co-host and correspondents with your super chats. Stu Cluster, Shannon Sharp is out at ESPN. Do we care? Now, I'm looking it up while I speak, so bear with me. I don't have a producer. I barely do anything. This computer every week. By the way, when this computer stops turning on, I think I'm done. I don't have any. I'm fearing. So basically, here I'll pull back the fourth wall or take down the fifth curtain, whatever the fuck. I'll let you behind. You people probably like this. People probably clip it and talk about it or something. So I'm logged into this archaic 2016 MacBook Pro that barely turns on with Ski Mass's Gmail. That's how I'm logged into StreamYard. That's how I'm logged into YouTube. That's how I'm logged into Patreon, etc. So, and maybe somebody off the air can help me out with this that might know something about this. My fear is, so everything auto saves. I haven't had to type it in. My fear is eventually, right, that password is going to expire. And then what? How do you get a dead man's reset a dead man's Gmail password when you have thousands and thousands of subscribers relying on his channel, as well as a Patreon, where, by the way, shout out to you. We got a few new Patreon members in the last week, and a brand new Patreon just put out not an hour ago, right before I started the show, on the kayak. We had us on the Boat and Mancation Patreon only. We did another one, late night Patreon only. All literally 3 Patreons in the last week. And once again, to White Knight's point, I don't even do this for a living. I have a job. Yes. So get on the Patreon. The Patreon's hot, and it's only $3. Give more if you like, and we would appreciate it. I would appreciate it if you did. But really, you get it all for $3. As I've always said, look at it as a once a month $3 super chat. Look at our Patreon like that, and I'll love you. Literally $36 for the year. Please. That's like 3 cups of coffee around the tri-state at least. Anyway, Shannon Sharpe. Thank you, Stu, giving me a topic. Shannon Sharpe, ESPN. Okay, here we go. This just in. ESPN parts ways with Shannon Sharpe following settlement of rape lawsuit. Andrew Martian reporting, ESPN has cut ties with NFL Hall of Famer and media analyst Shannon Sharpe less than 2 weeks after he settled a lawsuit in which his ex-girlfriend accused him of rape. Sharpe has not been on ESPN since late April when the suit was filed. He said at the time he'd returned to ESPN at the beginning of NFL training camp. Blah, 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 blah. The woman known as Jane Doe is seeking a $50 million for pain and suffering, psychological and emotional distress, mental anguish, embarrassment, and humiliation. Sharpe publicly denied the allegations immediately, blah, 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 calling the case a shakedown attempt. He has maintained that he and the Nevada woman were in a consensual sexual relationship. This is a long article. Let me see if I can find anything. He continues to have his podcast club, Shay Shay, which is very gay and weird, I've always thought, in Nightcap, where he teams up with former wide receiver Chad Ochocinco. Pleased to announce that we have reached this is from the woman's lawyer, okay? After protracted and respectful negotiations, why did I say it like an English person? Negotiations. I'm pleased to announce that we have reached a mutually agreed upon resolution, Busby, the lawyer, wrote. All matters have now been addressed satisfactorily, and the matter is closed. The lawsuit will thus be dismissed with prejudice. Dismissal with prejudice means Sharpe's accuser cannot refile the same claim. All right, so there you go. Stu breaking the news. Stu and Stancil. Wow, look at that. Maybe send you the link next week, Stu. Do we care, though? That's the question, isn't it? That Stu asked for $1.99. Short answer, no. Shall we move on? No. Listen, he has his podcast where, as you see, as everybody makes some money, cut out the middleman, Shannon. You think Borgo donates to Club Shay Shay? Never forget, Borgo lost his toes to diabetes, not hot sidewalk in Hawaii, whatever fake story. Never forget. You know, I thought about drinking heavily this episode, but I might have to do stuff later. I might hang out with Mead later. I might just go to Casey's and get blind drunk later. Listen, the lady, and we could talk about this more tomorrow. The old lady, one of my lady callers may be on her way out. We'll save it. That's a teaser for tomorrow's show. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. You know, ESPN obviously is owned by Disney. They may not want a rapist, doing a Sunday football countdown. But, don't be surprised. And this is not a hot take. I think this is common sense. But at the same time, there's some people that give $50 a day to Kevin Brennan. So maybe people are dumber. I should stop giving people so much credit because people are really dumb. Good chance he ends up on another network, a lesser network, maybe a Fox, maybe even is NFL Network also owned by Disney? I forget. Something like that. Or maybe one of these online networks that are gaining traction, a Barstool perhaps. Don't rule that out. I could possibly see that. I would say not in the near future, being that is the reason they used to fire him. It would just be kind of it would be a shitty look to, like, if Fox signed Shannon Sharpe this weekend, it'd be a little weird if another company just let him go for the same reasons. But yes, Stu, to your question, do we care? I think we will all agree, no. Especially with Sports Mass Collective now, who actually unless you're like sitting at a bar. I mean, NFL Countdown and these wrap-up shows, does anybody, I mean, literally nobody, it's not like anybody sits down and watches these shows. You'll throw it on. We'll all throw it on. We'll throw on, Channel 2 or Channel 5, at least in the, Fox and CBS. We'll throw it on the TV 20 minutes before the game just so the TV's on. We're getting the wings ready, right, boys? Maybe smoking a little doobie, having a drink. Hey, you come on the old game day. Hey, what's Frank Caliendo doing? Oh, Frank Caliendo, he's doing another John Madden impression. Hey, you got the bus over here. You take the bus, and that's the thing, Pat. That's right. And then he does Pat Summerall. That's right, John. At the 20, the 25, the 30, down at the 36. Gain of 7 yards, John. It was I put my introduction in. See, what happens with me, this has always been, thank you, Stu, for getting me on a rant about nothing. My issue with my John Madden impression, and this goes back for years, because, again, I've been entertaining people since I was a child. That's why I've been thrown out of school, and I paid the iron price. But now it's all coming back, and now I'm reaping all the benefits with over 80 viewers right now, you white knight homo. Send another super chat apologizing, white knight loyalist, or whatever the fuck your racist name is. I should have started drinking. I might just go get hammered. There's a storm rolling in this afternoon. Fight with the lady caller. I might just start drinking this afternoon. Who's to say? We'll see. I look great. Maybe I'll get right back out there and lay down some thick pipe down somebody's mom or daughter. Anywho, my John Madden impression, ever since I was a boy, always bled into my Bill Cosby impression. It's very hard to separate the two once you get started. So my John Madden, for example, okay, Pat, you get the X's and the O's. You got this guy over here, and he's going to cross over. But boom, get right down there to the 5-yard line, and boom, I'm going to take a bus because I'm scared of flying. But then the Bill Cosby is, and then you put the pudding in the basket. Ooh, put a little tinkle in the girl's drinkle. Ooh, she fell asleep. And then you put the Jell-O, and that's pretty much it. Anywho, what was the question? What am I talking about? Oh, yeah. So my point is nobody really watches these game day shows anyway, really. They're on at a bar. They're on in your living room while nobody's watching it, while everybody's getting drunk before the game start or between games. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he just put everything into his podcast. Because as you see, maybe wouldn't it be funny if Shannon Sharpe started a super chat show and started talking about these other losers like everybody else? Imagine Shannon Sharpe doing a show with playing golf with Steel Tail. That I'd be in for. I can't wait till tomorrow we could talk about Sullivan's. I re-entered Sullivan's last evening. We gonna get another appearance. Stu, absolutely nailing it today. We gonna get another appearance by Kelly P. Or is she on the pay no mind list? Also, go off on how how gay NCAA football is. One at a time, please. No, I'm kidding. Kelly P is not on the pay no mind list. We talked to Kelly briefly on the last Ski Mask Collective, I believe, from Mancation, SMC 305 Mancation, an actual all-time legendary episode featuring Amanda Gale, comedian Amanda Gale, my friend Dr. Matt, and of course my co-host Aunt Mead, who hopefully will be back tomorrow co-hosting again. Maybe not. We'll see. Maybe we'll get old Victor. So she had her eye fell out, and then I don't know, her butt got bigger and she put it on my head or something. No, not on the pay don't mind list. We'll get her back in here. But yeah, she's been laid up. I think I mentioned this for you to send her well wishes like a month ago. She's been laid up, whatever, but she's back at it. Her butt's still somewhere. So yes, Stu, she'll be back. We'll get her back into the fold. No pun intended about vaginas there. Yeah, you want to do a midsummer how gay college football is? Because I do it all football season anyway. But, just as a reminder for everyone, since, I guess these games are about to start up because it's ridiculous. Like these college football, by the way, starts in like mid-August, which never makes sense because all the schools go back end of August. Never made sense to me. Listen, I'll give you the cliff notes because obviously I'll do a full rant once we get into the football season. But of all the sport, put it this way, you don't sit down to watch AAA baseball. Nobody sits down to watch D-League basketball. Nobody is watching, although it gets a little more traction, nobody's watching like the Euro hockey leagues. So that's what it is to me. That's what college football is to me. It's the farm system for the NFL. And I don't want to hear, oh, these guys care more. Okay. Does that matter? I mean, do you value other things in life because of people doing it care more? Or do you care more about the finished product, the product itself? Right? If there's a bowl here, because I'm fat and Italian, if there's a bowl of spaghetti and meatballs here, and it's the best spaghetti and meatballs I've ever had, but the guy told me the guy's a piece of shit. And if there's a bowl of spaghetti and meatballs here, and it's the worst spaghetti and meatballs I ever had, but the guy said but everybody says the guy cares a lot. Is anybody going to eat a shitty bowl of spaghetti and meatballs? Or is every single person going to not give a fuck about the guy who made it and look at this spaghetti and meatballs, which is the best in the world, and they're going to want that spaghetti and meatballs? And this is the best analogy in the 5 years I've been doing this show I've ever done for college football. Somebody rack me and clip it and send it into the Smithsonian. That is college football in the NFL. Why am I going to watch the amateurs play, especially with football, because it's the same season? It's literally the day before. I'll rather watch the guys who are actually good at it on Sundays instead of these guys trying to get into the best league, trying to get in the NFL on Saturdays. I don't give a fuck who cares about what. Are you kidding me? I don't want to see these 52 to 75 games. Nobody plays defense. Very rarely is defense played in college football. There's one or two players going to the NFL on all these teams, and everyone else, this is their peak. They really peaked in high school, and they're sparking out in college. Why is anyone going to watch? Listen, the only reason is if you went to that school and you have a rooting interest. Other than that, I actually think it's extremely weird for somebody who didn't go to one of these big schools to watch or care about these sports. Hold on, we got something over the wire. Nope. I thought somebody sent me money. I thought somebody was sending me money, but it was just quite the opposite. Another thing telling me I owe money. So for the love of God, send in the super chats. But really, PayPal or Venmo and join the Patreon. There you go, Stu. You got what you wanted, and you all got a real treat right there. One of the greatest great spaghetti, the best spaghetti in the world made by a scumbag, or the worst spaghetti you ever tasted but made by a guy who really cares. That's college football in the NFL. I have no interest in college football. And I frankly, if you didn't go to one of these schools, I almost think you're a pedophile to care about college football. Rack me. Stu's going to help me pay a bill. The implosion of the Pac-12 finally made me tap out. Do I have to look that up too? Is that new news or am I retarded? I know Stu's up in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. Before you had invented about Pac-12, are you just talking about like when they everybody joined the SEC or whatever? Is that what you mean? And on top of it now, folks, I'm sorry I don't have more on that, but noted, Stu. Okay, so interesting. And that's the other thing. Maybe you didn't go to these schools, but listen, I've been around the country. Some of these schools are the whole economy, and you guys know this. I live in a metropolitan area. Many of us live in metropolitan areas. In the great vastness of the beautiful nation, there's many of these towns where these huge schools are the economy for the whole town, and the culture of the whole town. That's the other exception. But I don't want to see I don't want to see one of my friends who never went to one of these schools wearing a Michigan hat or anybody at a bar downtown on a Saturday. It's weird. It's very weird. And I think there's pedophilia involved, and we got to get those Epstein tapes. And this all has to do with college football. Okay. So rack me on that. Once again, I did it again, by the way. I said it was going to be a quick show. I haven't even gotten to Happy Gilmore yet. Almost 100 viewers. Hey, White Knight. Right in your fat, whatever their picture is, face. 95 viewers I'm showing on my end. Not that it matters at all. I would do this for no one, literally, because I do this for fun. This is my therapy because I really need therapy. But this is more fun than going to talk to a guy. Anywho, all right, let's get to the news of the day. Let's get to the hack topic of the day, folks. By the way, before I get to that, Aaron Judge and the Yankees hinges. Aaron Judge may need Tommy John. Listen, now, obviously, Aaron Judge can DH. Tommy John obviously doesn't affect the swing as much as it does the throwing, but it still has some effect. Listen, the Yankees, obviously I'm a Mets fan. And again, I'll be at the game Saturday because #LeaveYourHouse. I'll once again be at the game. But the Yankees have looked like shit. Their defense has looked horrible of late. Aaron Judge makes that team go. Stanton's a weird guy. I think he might be a robot, frankly. I think Giancarlo Stanton is, in fact, a robot or an android. He has no personality. He almost is featureless, like a penis. But he's very strong, and he hits home runs in the postseason. But Aaron Judge makes that team go. An absolute freak. Credit where credit, especially in that stadium with that tiny right field porch that you could just freaking kick a baseball over. Aaron Judge makes that team go. There's really not many other big bats out there at this point you're going to be able to get by the trade deadline. Isn't the trade deadline today, or are we past it? This is how good I am at this. I don't even know these things. Let's just look it up. MLB. Today at 6 p.m. Let's see if we have any breaking news, folks. Today, Padres land Miller, Sears. Padres got Miller and Sears in a stunning trade. Blue Jays get Bieber and deal with the Guardians. Dodgers acquire reliever Stewart. Oh, wow. Phillies got Harrison Bader. Wow, that's a pretty good deal for them, which I don't like as a Mets fan. So we got some movement going on, folks, and usually the MLB trade day deadline is the most sexy of all the large sports trade deadlines, with deals going up right to the last second. So 6 p.m. Eastern is the MLB trade deadline, and there is sparks already flying. Phillies got Bader. That's a big one for me. What did I just read? The Padres got Sears and some other guy. Miller. Dodgers get the reliever for the Twins are selling, huh? Blue Jays get Bieber. Yeah, so keep an eye on it. We've got a little less than 4 hours away of the MLB trade deadline, which tends to be the most electrifying trade deadline in all of sports. Wow, I am good at this without any show prep. It's amazing, actually, how good at this I am. I'll do a poor people chat check at the end, but if you need something read, just like these other fine folks have done, you got to super chat it because you guys are just having too much fun in the poor people chat. What is that? Almost 100 messages. God bless you. Keep doing it. Just if you want something read, I may not see it unless you super chat it. And that's how you're supposed to use super chats, not make your whole show about it and sell your soul to make some money like Kevin Brennan did. Anywho, because all these other shows like Steel Toe and NLO and all those things, their show has always just been about the chat. Whereas Kevin Brennan used to have MLC used to be a real show with real people and not these losers that he has on all the time. Anywho, Happy Gilmore 2 came out last Friday. Obviously, everybody's giving their take on it. I debated not even giving my take because it's so hack and beaten to death by now with all these shows. But at the same time, I am an All-American athlete. I did grow up. Happy Gilmore, still one of my favorite movies. Obviously, 1996, the year of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Hieronymus Christ, that movie came out. So I do feel I should weigh in quickly here before we go to the poor people chats, or if anybody else has another super chat or whatever, who cares? Listen, I went into it with an open mind. I didn't watch it till days after it came out, where obviously I saw everybody saying how much it sucked and blah, blah, blah. I went into it with an open mind because listen, stuff can suck and still be entertaining. I enjoyed Dumb and Dumber. Is it Dumb and Dumber? Not the one with the kids, the actual one they made saying that was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I think it was Dumb and Dumber 2, TOO, where Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey weren't even in it. That was literally one of the worst movies I've seen. Dumb and Dumber by itself, my favorite comedy ever made for me personally. That's what I grew up with. I literally watched the VHS until it disintegrated. But anywho, but I did like Dumb and Dumber was my point. It was very dumb. It was a lot of nostalgia and nods to old shit. But I actually laughed. I enjoyed it. It had a fairly unique plot. If you haven't seen it, worth a watch. Definitely, I will say that. I'll give it that. Worth a watch. I've seen it a couple times because I've been with people who hadn't seen it, and I was like, you'll be surprised. It's not bad. I'm like, oh, shit, that's not bad. Made me laugh. Went into Happy Gilmore 2 with the same mindset, and I thought it started out okay. It was obviously a lot of nods, and I like the opening. I like the pratfalls. I can't even remember specifics, but I laughed out loud a few times during the first part of that movie. Shooter McGavin's character, very funny. He's in an insane asylum. They let him out. I liked Chubbs' son. I like how ridiculous they made his fake hand, because it's just so ridiculous. Some funny moments of him when he played golf with when he was getting back into golf, playing with that foursome. That was cute. Had its moments. So it really, honestly, I thought the first 45 minutes to maybe an hour weren't terrible. Where it totally turned to absolute shit is, certainly when they started playing golf. The whole last, whatever it is, half hour when they're playing golf on that course, this futuristic whatever course, obviously is supposed to be like live golf versus PGA. It's pretty straightforward. But again, a lot of your mongos, you don't get that. Obviously, Happy playing the role of the PGA guy, Happy and Shooter, and then going against the evil live golfers, which was like Max Golf in the movie, whatever. That whole last half hour, whatever the fuck that was almost unwatchable, with like the greens moving and the ball flying around. I really wish they didn't go with like the futuristic super CGI golf thing at the end. Thought that was a charm of Happy Gilmore, is that it was still a golf course. And then that just got ridiculous the last half hour. So that aside, which by itself kind of ruined the movie just because it was so ridiculous. And why is Bad Bunny in this movie? Bueller? Anyone know why Bad Bunny is in this movie? And that leads me to the next point. I looked it up. 62 cameos in this movie. And almost not a one of them good. I mean, these golfers, obviously, again, say it out loud and make it. It's pretty straightforward. The golfers of all the pro sports have the least charismatic, are the least interesting, and boy, can they not act. Holy shit. It was all like bad commercial acting is what I would describe it. It was terrible. Like, these guys can, like, I don't know if they can barely read. I think they're just charismatic-less and soulless, these pro golfers. All of the pro golfer cameos were so trite and just so washed and just so, none of them could act. That was all brutal. The Eminem cameo didn't even make sense. I mean, his daughters, again, nepotism, I guess. They're all collecting paychecks. But the cameos were just, it almost was like the cameos were supposed to be a bit, but I don't think they were. I think he was just putting everybody in the movie that wanted to be in the movie and like hooking people up. I honestly thought the cameos were like a bit of, see how ridiculous we can make it with cameos, but it wasn't. It was just, listen, obviously they're conscious of it. You have 60 cameos, you're having 60 cameos. My point is, I thought it was almost a storyline in the movie, like kind of a nod, wink, wink to the viewer, like how many ridiculous cameos, but it wasn't. It was just, hey, let's put a shit ton of golfers in this movie. I'm going to put my daughters in it. I'm going to put some, all these random people, almost everybody in the movie that was unrecognizable, I knew. I said to Julio, I was like, there has to be someone because they're a terrible actor, even if I didn't know who they were. Get what I'm saying? And like I said, it's a little bit of a shame because I was enjoying the first probably half of the movie, maybe even a little more than half. Again, obviously it's not going to be the funniest movie I've ever seen. We knew it was going to be. We knew it was going to be nostalgia. But boy, they really ruined that with that whole futuristic golf thing and all these golfers who can't act a lick. And yes, so disappointing. Still, it's no Dumb and Dumber 2. That was the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. Not Dumb and Dumber with Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey. That was decent. Again, I would still say worth watching if you're around my age. If you haven't watched it yet, you kind of have to watch it. But yeah, unfortunately, to say it fizzles out is doing it a favor. It basically fell off a cliff. I thought Shooter McGavin's character was very funny. He was probably the funniest guy in that movie. I really would have liked to see him more. But yeah, kind of sad. And look at that. An hour on the dot. He did it again. All right, let's take a look at some of these pours since I'm a man of the people. A lot of people call me the people's champ. Let me do a quick check on the pours. And listen, I don't discount you people, by the way. It's just that I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to turn into these other shows. This is a real show. This is a sports talk radio with a twist. I like mine with a twist. Remember that old SNL with Bill Murray? I have ADHD. But it's just a matter of, we're doing a real show here. I'm not going to just read your chats the whole show, because then all I'm doing is reading your words, which is why I don't understand why people watch these other shows. This is a real once a week sports show. So super chats have a place here and have a point, not a daily 4-hour show where all it's done is read the thing. You people get it. I've said it a million times. Super chats are gay. AC/DC, you gotta watch it. AC/DC is not gonna watch it like all the sheep. Yeah, cops were involved. Again, Ski Mask Collective back tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Same time. Actually, it was 1. What did I do? 1:30 today. So actually be earlier. 1 o'clock tomorrow. Ski Mask Collective is back. I may or may not have a guest, but I have a lot to cover. We're going to cover Mancation. We're going to cover why I was spoken to by cops last night. We can talk about the Lord Huron concert last night. I need to talk about stop signs. We'll have enough to discuss. And I may have a guest. I may not, because I do real shows. But all of that is not sports related, T-Gun. That is for tomorrow, and we hope you join us. A brand new, of course. I mean, it's taken the country by storm. Casamigos, the greatest new theme song for not only for Ski Mask Collective, but probably for America and the rest of the summer. If you haven't heard it, go watch it. I do have the MP3 now on my computer. Unbelievable. Oh, Bobo. Is this the real Bobo? I hope so, Bobo. Daniel Curlin, you're doing a great job. Ski Mask is watching from the great beyond with Patrice O'Neill. Well, either way, if you're a fake Bobo, that's nice. And if you're a real Bobo, that's very nice of you. And we'll get Bobo the link one of these weeks. 100%. The hair looks great. It really does. It really does. And the tan is unbelievable. I mean, I'll talk about it tomorrow too. I'm from about mid-July until about mid-September, when the tan where the tan comes and wears off. I'm basically indestructible when it comes to women. I've seen it. Oh, Bobo, hot in the chat. I've seen the test out of the ABS strikes on a Brooklyn Cyclones game. I hate the pitch clock because it increases chances of pitchers getting injured. Bobo was coming in with hot takes at the last second. Bobo. Is this the real Bobo? It was not the real Bobo. This is funny. It's funny either way. I'm scared a robot will take my UPS truck loading job. Port robots. Yes. Call ice on robots. And I say robots. Or robots? I'm starting to look like Whoopi Goldberg. Yes, I am turning black. I am Sicilian. Guys, I could show you. If you don't believe me, I mean, I could watch this. I'll do this. Tell me what that says. Oh, that's just my face. This is how old I am. Tell me what that says. White Knight. Looks like it says 98 people watching. This was a picture. That's why the time's not moving. So, not bad for a guy who has a full-time job and does this for the love of the game because he's so good at it. So, suck my fat Sicilian Polish cock. Yes, sorry, Stu. Your dad died 7 years ago. To follow up on a question from about an hour ago. Well, mine died 14 years ago. All good times. Da, da, da. My computer sounds like. Can you hear this? My computer sounds like it's about to take off. So to my prior point, which I don't know if I even ever finished from a half hour ago, if this computer were to ever die or Ski Mask's passwords get reset, I have no idea how I will carry on. So anybody who knows that information, feel free to reach out to me offline. I can't be the first person whose co-host has died and they wanted to keep the Gmail. The problem is YouTube and everything is linked to his Gmail. So is Patreon. So all good on the Western Front now, folks. Don't fret. But I imagine passwords expire eventually, right? Somebody let me know offline. Call me offline. I really did this. The spaghetti. Thank you, Chris Mack. He's a member. By the way, if you were a member, you got to see the kayaking from yesterday before everyone. Now, it's on the Patreon, folks. In case you missed it, I got a new kayak sail and went out on the water on I've never seen a more windless day. You can't make it up. This is my life. This is what happens. But anyway, Stancil Outdoors is just extra content, folks. Kill the time. Watch a retard on a kayak. $3 for the month. It's nothing. That's pretty funny, Sierra. Wish you super chatted it. Stanzo was the only kid on Epstein Island that says he had a great time while he was there. Oh, it's not bad. Sam V, is this new? Oh, it's new. That's Sam V. That's how you do it. That's how you do it, folks. 99-cent super sticker. No words, just a buck to say hello, and I appreciate that, Sam. What's Stevie Diggity? What's Stevie Lou think about the movie? Nobody cares what Stevie Lou thinks about anything. Let's all remember, some of you newer people probably don't even remember this, but let's all take a moment. And, this is the end of the show. Ski Mask Collective back at 1 o'clock tomorrow. We can talk about more of this, but more so we'll talk about our hijinks on Mancations and me getting yelled at by police yesterday, among other things. But let's all just take this moment at the end of Sports Mask to remember Kevin Brennan only brought Chad on, Ray on, and Stevie on as a joke. He literally would bring them on just to shit on them, and still kind of does. The issue is more you people thinking they're actually anyone and believing anything any of these people say. So shame on you if you do. Shame on you if you find them entertaining other than laughing at them. They're all retarded. I'll bury any of them in a funny off. I was the one who read Kevin Brennan's jokes on the roast of Gino. I was the one who ran security for Kevin when he got back out after the lockdowns. Kevin was the one who told Ski Mask to get me on his channel at all costs because I'm naturally funny. And I just wanted to take a moment for everyone to remember that. And thank you to all you fine folks who continue to support a real podcast, a real YouTube channel, more real guests and co-hosts coming up. Ski Mask forever. We're going to make sure his dream carries on. We'll get Cabana on soon when he's ready. That's it. Patreon going great, Mink Diggity. Thanks for asking. We tapped on a couple more last week. Get in there, $3. Look at it as a once a month super chat. Patreon.com, Ski Mask Media. Send the money to my accountant's Venmo at DaveD23 or at his PayPal pal DDOMB5185 at Gmail. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock for a new SMC. Much to discuss. Thank you for everybody who's joined the page. I hope you're enjoying the constant content. Some of it's better than others, I know, but the point is it's just content. That was our whole thing with me and Ski would talk about. I keep trying to sign off and keep talking. That's what me and Ski would talk about all the time. I would tell him and he would tell me, just record shit and put it out. It's entertaining. Some of it's slice of life stuff. Kind of, yesterday was a mix of nature show and slice of life. My Stancil strolls are time and place. We also did like an actual 30-minute show from Mead's boat, a lake boat last week. All only on the Patreon. The only thing that's free and full are these fine programs. Sports Mask Collective and Ski Mask Collective will always be free. Everything else you ever see may stay up for a bit, but it all goes back on the page. Paulie C, can you do the show tomorrow? Paulie C, my favorite DJ, my karaoke DJ. Well, look at this. Paulie C says upload the song, and guess what's coming Guess what the intro is on Ski Mask Collective, the new intro song. Ski Mask Collective tomorrow, folks. Casamigos, taking the world by storm. If you haven't heard it, you know what? Maybe I'll play us out as a little teaser for tomorrow, huh? A little treat for you folks. A little teaser of the greatest summer banger the world has likely ever seen. Hold on, please hold. There she blows. Folks, count all the troops and bring home the votes. We're just gonna play the hook because it's maybe the greatest hook in the history of music. See you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Bring your wallets. Goodbye.